Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The assault rifle meta in Warzone right now is probably the most competitive it's ever been, with some of the buffs and nerfs that we saw to various different options throughout season 3 and season 3 reloaded. We've got a rifle meta that is just so fun because there are so many options that you could use and actually use competitively and effectively depending on your playstyle. If you want that higher risk, higher reward option, they exist. If you want just a super low recoil laser beam, they exist. Something in between. Plenty of options there too. Today though, I'm going to try my best to break it down to just the 5 best rifle options and go through, give you guys the best setups for them. So in order to narrow it down to a top 5, we are here on True Game Data. I've sort of done some sifting through the general rifle meta, trying to break it down to 9 options we can compare and then knock these down from 9 to 5. So first up here, we got the SWAT 556. Obviously this base is a marksman, but the Grau conversion, let's all face it, it's an assault rifle, so that's got to be in the mix here. Then we got the AK. It's obviously seen some changes recently, but still a top option. The AS Val has been talked about a good bit. The AMAX, the Cypher, the GPR, the Krig, the Kilo, and the Model L. There's honestly even more rifles we could put on this list, and like they'd still be competitive and close. Like the M4 is really good. The TAC 56. There's so many good choices right now, but the true top 5, the definitive top 5, gonna be tough to narrow it down, but we're gonna try our best. So we're here looking at 300 health combination shot TTK. As always, site will be linked down below if you guys want to check it out for yourself and, you know, do your own equations here, look at the graph and see if there's something that might work well for you. But initially here, what stands out? Well, first up, the Model L, our sort of indigo looking line here, right? That's the correct color. It's good. Like, don't get me wrong, the Model L is a fine choice, but when you're looking at combination shot TTK, it definitely has the slowest TTK basically at every single range. That's one we could effectively knock out of there, right? There's also a few options that I think do stand out a little bit more, but for opposite reasons. Like for instance, the SWAT 556, our red line, it's going to be a top option through its first damage range there, where it's one of the fastest TTKs in the game. And then over range, it's right in the mix as well. You know, millisecond difference with a few of these options, just a few milliseconds between what would be a Krig or a SWAT, etc. there. Speaking of the Krig, that's one that's also got to be a mainstay here. After its buff, it's better than it's ever been, which is really, really cool to see. I will say the GPR, as you know, competitive as it is, again, it's a good rifle, especially in that first damage range. Like for sniper support, really practical there. It does drop off a bit earlier than some other options and a bit more harsh as well. So unfortunately, I think that one just misses the cut. And honestly, this should tell you just how competitive the rifle meta is. I think the Kilo gets knocked out of there as well. I mean, looking at this graph, you can see, yes, everything is so competitive through this mix, but the Kilo does drop off glaringly before everything else, like blatantly obvious there. So that TTK is going to be a little bit slower, even though it's an insanely easy gun to use. And again, not bad by any means, just not as good as some of these other choices. Then we've got it down to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options left still. So we're looking to knock out one of the AK, the Val, the AMAX, or the Cypher. Really, I think there's arguments for all of these. I think the one that players will probably struggle with the most out of all of these though is either the AK or the AS Val. The damage that the AK offers though, if you can just learn the recoil though, I think does exceed the AS Val. The damage per mag on the AS Val is going to be a little bit iffy. Its general behavior is a little bit strange, limited a little bit more on attachments there. So to me, that one just misses the cut. The AK being a higher skill gap option, obviously a little bit more difficult to use, but if you can land your shots, like clearly as we see here, the combination shot TTK could be best in class in theory at 60, 70, 80 plus meters. So this is a very, very competitive rifle meta. But I think those are 5 fantastic options. The Krig, the Cypher, the AMAX, the AK, the SWAT. Now let's jump in, or the Grau really. Now let's jump in a game and break down the best setups for all of these in order. As we do so, if you enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure that each and every single day, you are always in the know for everything going on in COD. No better place than right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. So at number 5, obviously, since it was so close to potentially missing the cut there, we got the AK. Probably the highest skill gap, highest risk, highest reward option here. The control here is what you have to master. The recoil is a lot more bouncy and sporadic than pretty much every other option here. But if you can manage it, if you can get it down, which obviously it's a lot more difficult to do as you're fighting 50, 60, 70, 80 meters, the reward is there. It just takes a lot of patience, a lot of time to get to that. But this thing has a huge upside here, right? Obviously, it's been nerfed a little bit. It's not nearly that #1 most overpowered broken option for sniper support of the close range. It's just a decent mid to long range rifle now. So I do think this is a heavy beneficiary of using gunfighter. 8 attachments here goes such a long way. For me, use whatever optic you want to start things off. I really like the Oturo red dot, but if you like a Volsky reflex or a 2 times or a 3 times more, rock that instead, no worries there. I'm also going for the compensator on here as well, helping out with that vertical control, making the gun a little bit easier to use, of course. Reinforced barrel on here, helping out with our damage range and velocity. We end up with a 1008 velocity, which is solid all things considered, then also a 51 meter effective damage range as well, and that's really solid too. Then we got the vertical foregrip. This will help out the most with horizontal recoil control, so making the gun just a lot more predictable overall. Extended 2 works fine for me here. It's a 50 rounder. If you want to jump up to extended 3 and get 60, that's fine as well. It's just going to be a little bit slower, so just weigh your pros and cons with that. Quick draw rear grip for the faster ADS just makes this a little bit more snappy and aggressive. Infiltrator stock for the better strafe speed. I also feel like is a nice little bonus to have on there. Just so you're a little bit more aggressive when you are ADSing. Then lastly, recoil springs, free horizontal and vertical control. This, by all technical elements, is the best recoil control AK-74 build that we've got. Even with all this help, it's still a little bit obnoxious to use at times. Like I said, it's really something you have to learn, but if you do master it, you've got a huge upside. Following that, we've got the AMAX. This was also nerfed a tad bit here recently with like its headshot multiplier and whatnot, so its effectiveness over the longer ranges is maybe a little bit more noticeable there. But, from 0 to 55, 60 meters, depending on your setup here, it's still a fantastic choice. And if you're familiar with the recoil, even beyond that, it's not bad either. Again, it's just a matter of how comfortable are you with this gun. But obviously, it was maybe the #1 rifle, #2 rifle before. Now it's looking at #4, #5. You can make some arguments here and there. But here, this is going to be a basic 5 attachment setup build. We got a Turo red dot on here as well. Once again, just my preference. But at the end of the day, it's what I'm comfortable with. It's what I feel like I hit shots with, so I'm rocking that, of course. Monolithic suppressor here. The recoil, in my opinion, is just not as bad as it is on the AK. But if you're not, a fan of how this feels with monolithic, switch on over to compensator, switch on over to recoil springs, adjust as needed. But I like the added velocity and range that you get with that. Plus, you stack reinforced barrel on there. You end up with a 1230 velocity, a 64 meter effective damage range, where that TTK is still going to be extremely competitive. It's a solid choice there. Vertical foregrip, max horizontal control, yet again making the gun even more predictable. And then just an extended 2, it's going to be a 60 rounder. That's going to work fine for all squad sizes here. You don't have to worry about the DPM at all. It's going to be fine, and you're going to be able to fry if you can hit your shots. Now, my #3, I've got the Cypher. This is honestly a very versatile rifle. You could build it out for sniper support. It'll be competitive there. You could build it out for mid to long range like what we've got here, and it's going to be a great choice too. It's low recoil, good velocity, good range. Like, it's checking all the right boxes, doing everything very, very efficiently here. So this time for the optics, switching things up a little bit, going for the Volsky reflex. Again, simply a matter of preference, right? Monolithic suppressor on here as well for the better range, velocity, and then reinforced barrel once more. So 1166 velocity is fantastic. 52 meter effective damage range, also very, very good there as well. Ranger foregrip in this case, just because this gun, in my opinion, is not too difficult to use. The recoil is really not all that bad here. If you want to go max control, again, it's never a bad choice. So you could go for vertical, no worries there. It's not the wrong answer by any means. I'm just comfortable with it, so I like getting that better sprinting movement speed back out of Ranger, and then a little bit more horizontal control, just not as much as vertical there. I think it's like a nice little best of both worlds for a versatile rifle like this. Then extended 2, just again a basic 60, nothing too out of the ordinary there. It's going to get the job done in solos, duos, trios, and quads. Cypher is just a super well-rounded and reliable option. Now at #2, we still have what's probably my favorite gun in the game at this moment. It's the Grau 5.56 conversion, just because it's so similar to the OG Grau, which is my favorite gun of all time, of course. Low recoil, great velocity, clean iron sight. This thing just, it feels fantastic. By far one of my, like I said, favorite weapons to use in the game. The most important part here is using the SWAT 5.56 Grau conversion fire mod, which turns it into full auto, gives you the Grau 5.56 rifle basically out of the SWAT 5.56. Beyond that, I am going for monolithic suppressor, better range of velocity. You don't get a barrel option here because the conversion kit kind of functions as that, and you end up with a 1277 velocity, which is insane, and a 47.5 meter effective damage range, which is pretty good all things considered. And of course, as we saw in the graph, the drop off is not too harsh there. Vertical foregrip gives you the best horizontal control and predictability there. The only extended mag option you have is a 50 rounder, so of course that's a no-brainer. Then for the stock, balanced stock is sort of the default that I always go to, just for the better strafe, slightly better movement and whatnot. But lately I've also loved infiltrator stock as well, with the better strafe just in general. Obviously we've rocked this on a few weapons already, and that's something that I've really switched to a lot, even on some of my subs, then my rifles as well. It just feels really good in gunfights there, so that's definitely worth checking out if you like the strafe elements there. But at the end of the day, you could also switch on over to a quick draw rear grip, an ergonomic rear grip, if you wanted to test out something there. If you're not a fan of the irons for whatever reason, you could also rock an optic in that spot as well. Because the setup is so weird here, I don't really feel like you're getting the most out of gunfighter, because you'd probably only rock 7 attachments at best, or if you really want a Strelok laser, that's there too, but not super advantageous in a long range gunfight. You get what I'm saying? But with 5 attachments, this thing will still hold its own just fine. And then lastly, at number 1, we've got the Krig. This thing has really skyrocketed in rank recently because the buff that it got just the other day. This thing's got obviously that great TTK throughout. Its recoil is much better than before. Still takes some getting used to, but definitely not nearly as sporadic as it once was. Overall, it's just a really reliable option here, and decently aggressive at the same time. So here again, switching things up just for fun. Jason Armory 2 times here. I like the Willis 3 times as well, and of course some of the other optics that we've run throughout the other setups too. In this case, I am going for monolithic suppressor. I am comfortable where this stands in terms of control. Again, if you're looking for more, you could switch over to a compensator or recoil springs. You could upgrade to gunfighter in this case as well and rock even more there if that's something you're looking for. But for me, monolithic's going to feel great paired with reinforced yet again. 1195 velocity, 58 meter effective damage range. Those are stats that are just tough to beat, obviously, as we've seen. That's right in the standard with some of these other top tier rifles. Vertical foregrip yet again on here as well. Then extended 2 in this case is actually a 70 rounder, so it's got an insanely good damage per mag stat, and not typically something you see for an extended 2. It's by far the largest option that we've got here. Like I said though, if you're looking for gunfighter, you could stack on recoil springs, you know, an infiltrator stock here as well, ergonomic rear grip, quick draw rear grip, commando, whatever you're looking for out of that, if you want a few bonus stats in that case. But regardless of what you choose out of this top 5, or even some other really close options, the Val, the Kilo, the GPR, other phenomenal choices too, the rifle meta is in a fantastic spot in my opinion. There's so many different choices depending on your level of comfortability and your style of play. With that being said, that's gonna wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, you found it helpful, be sure to drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out so you can always guarantee you're in the know for everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.